Liberty, the podcast where we strive to rekindle the passion for your freedoms. Here are your hosts, Justin and Joe.
Welcome back to Embers of Liberty. We're back for episode 2. We've had a mishap in the studio. We have both been frozen stickered, and I did not consent to be stickered. This is a lot like taxation without representation, but we're going to call it stickering without representation.
I have Elsa on me.
And I do too, and then mine says well done.
Mine says, what does mine say? Oh, super. I'm super.
You're super.
Yes, my wife thinks I'm super.
What do we got today, Joe?
Well, Rush Limbaugh died this week.
Can't say that I know a whole lot about Rush Limbaugh. I know that he pretty much pioneered the game as far as conservative talk radio goes. He had a very long career. He was very good at what he did. And he changed a lot.
According to Ben Shapiro, he was kind of the pioneer for talk radio in general, really.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where that would be the case. I know that he had a very long and very successful career. I know that there's been a lot of hateful comments made about his death. Yeah. There's been excuse my language here, but I think I saw one where it's like rest in piss. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, and then I've seen some where they, even when he was diagnosed with cancer, a year or two ago, I don't remember exactly when he got diagnosed. I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember when it was. The phrase that one of the reporters used was, "The cancer has cancer." Yeah, that's not right. Referring to Rush Limbaugh's being a conservative. He's made a lot of really good speeches at other events as well. It's not even really just about him being a talk radio host or conservative. It's, you can't treat the dead that way. I don't remember hearing any conservative that I know personally, nor any libertarian, talk this way about Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she died. As a matter of fact, most of the people that I saw post anything about it had nothing but, kind words and a prayer to say for her. I didn't agree with. I was not a
RGB fan, but
RBG.
RBG. Oh, sorry, RBG.
Yeah. RGB is red, green, blue. Oh. So for LEDs, bud.
But I wasn't a big fan of her, mostly because, she did swing more liberal.
Oh no, she was die-hard liberal.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Her request was that her seat on the Supreme Court not be filled while Trump was president.
Oh, and supposedly Obama even said she left a list of how she wanted her seat filled when she died.
She had every opportunity to retire well before she passed.
But that's not how you treat that seat. It's not up to you; it's up to the people.
You don't get to pick who fills your seat.
Right.
That's what the president does. The president's term, in her own words, it doesn't end at 3 years.
But I will say, on the positive side of things, she did do a lot for women's rights and stuff like that. So that's a good thing.
They all have some positives.
Yeah,
Everybody has positives.
Yeah, just like we talked about last time. There were some good things Obama did. There were a lot of bad things, but some good things.
Not necessarily bad things, but things that we don't agree with.
Right. Just like Trump. There's some good things he did, some bad things he did. That's what I feel society is losing, is that ability to discern, hey, he's not the best president in the world, but,
policy-wise, he was a pretty good president.
I think he did pretty good.
I wanted him to shut up.
Yeah.
I think that was my big thing with Trump, is I just wanted him to be quiet.
I think he definitely swung more libertarian than most presidents we've had.
Yeah, he was more about the people, protecting the people
now,
than anything else.
Did he let things go wild where he shouldn't have regarding libertarian views? Yes.
I
like the
banning of bump stocks, things of that nature.
Yeah.
The ATF kind of
he let the ATF run wild with that.
But so Rush Limbaugh died. Liberals are going nuts. They've been extremely hateful about his death. I don't have any quotes right in front of me. You got the screen over there.
We got one here. It says, saw Rush Limbaugh trending and worried for a second he wasn't dead. That's jacked up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to worry that he's not dead, can you really claim that you're part of the party of tolerance and peace?
Yeah, supposedly this is the party of tolerance, right? Like, what in the world?
You know, as far as I can tell, there's not a liberal out there that I know that's really super tolerant of any view that doesn't agree with their own. So, my position has always been that I will change my position based on relevant information.
Yeah.
And you don't really get that out of liberals.
So we got one. So now we live in a world without Rush Limbaugh. Let's see. Rush Limbaugh did a lot of damage to America.
What damage? What damage did he do? He's a talk show radio host.
Well, just like they say Trump, you know, they say he sowed division and he was full of divisiveness. But what people are forgetting is we're still human beings and we can make our own decisions. And if you decide to take something somebody says and do something negative with it, that's on you.
Yeah, I mean, you're responsible for your own actions. You know, that's one of the key points of being a libertarian. Like, we are capable of making choices that are for the best for us.
Right. Well, and even as, you know, the best for the people around us too, because we do, you know, like the whole idea is that the government shouldn't have to take care of your neighbor. You take care of your neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you see somebody in need, you should absolutely be in a position where you can help them.
We got one here. Rush Limbaugh must be one of the most racist sounding names. I'm not even gonna get into that one. That just sounds dumb.
We're gonna talk about that one right now.
But that just sounds dumb, though, to me. That just dumb.
I mean, but really, when you think about it, liberals want
to say everything's racist.
They point everything to racist. Racist really doesn't even have a meaning anymore.
Yeah.
Because everything's racist. The mainstream media, everything's racist.
Well, see, like how we said, well, we don't know too much about Rush Limbaugh. Like, there was, from what I understand, there was a lot of bad things he did say. That's why I'm saying I'm not really a big fan of him. I never listened to his show. I didn't agree with him for the most part on a lot of things. But, I mean, not saying that's just like anything else. Not saying the dude didn't do some good things. You know, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. There's
things that I don't agree with on, you know, pretty much every side of the aisle. I listen to Ben Shapiro regularly.
Yeah. Oh, I love Ben Shapiro, man. But there's still
I love a lot of his viewpoints, but
yeah, but
honestly,
there's still stuff that he says that
there's some stuff that I'm just like, I don't know about that dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you know, so we've got that. What else? We got Biden.
Oh yeah,
we can talk about Biden.
Oh yeah, Biden's sweeping gun control. See, we got.
Let's just hold on before we get into that. Let's just read you the text of the Second Amendment right now.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it?
I got it. Let me get it pulled back up. The Second Amendment reads, and I quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed."
It does not say that, oh, hey, if you think this weapon is dangerous or scary, you can get rid of it. No, it says straight up, shall not be infringed.
So here's the other thing about the Second Amendment, though. A lot of states have anti-militia laws. So you can't form a militia in those states. The text of the Second Amendment literally states that a militia needs to be well regulated to protect the security of a free state. So those laws are unconstitutional anyway.
Yeah. Well, you have some people now, though, that like to say, well, that's why we have the National Guard.
No, that's not the National Guard. The National Guard is a branch of the armed services.
Yes. And because a militia is regular, everyday citizens that volunteer their time and money and services to the defense of the country if need be.
Yeah. Or to fight against a tyrannical government.
Or that too.
You know, so I also had it pulled up, and I guess I closed that window, but I had Biden's statement pulled up. Okay, here it is. So In a statement, Biden called on lawmakers to enact common sense gun law reforms, including requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets. I'm sorry. So let's dive into the weapons of war thing first.
Yeah, that for me is a big thing.
This is a big one.
AR-15s are not weapons of war.
They are semi-automatic rifles. No soldier on the battlefield carries an AR-15.
No.
There is not one.
No.
None. They carry an AR-15 style weapon called an M4A1.
Yeah.
Which is a fully automatic that it uses the same caliber rounds. It looks exactly the same for the most part.
And there's other variants of that rifle.
Yeah, so the AR platform is very versatile.
Right.
Okay. And a common misconception about AR-15s, honestly, is that the AR stands for assault rifle. No, it's an abbreviation for Armalite.
Yeah.
Which is the original manufacturer of the AR-15. It's the Armalite 15.
Right.
Okay? Chill out, people. You do not know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It stands for Armalite Rifle Model 15.
So he made this statement on the anniversary of the Parkland shooting.
Which is messed up.
It's the largest shooting in the history of our nation.
Right.
Unless you want to go back way back.
I don't know.
We're talking like Indian, Native American.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. That's new to me personally, but I didn't look too much into it.
So it was on the anniversary of the Parkland shooting. Trying to prevent mass shootings, I get that. The problem is that gun grabbing leftists do not have your best interests at heart.
Oh no, I don't think so either.
They don't at all. They never will. They never have. I mean, Joe Biden has literally, when he was on the campaign, he literally picked fights with his supporters.
Well, you saw.
I think my favorite one was, "Look here, fat." What are you doing, dude? You called a dude fat. So now he's telling Congress to enact common sense gun reform. There's some stuff in there that I do kind of agree with, like background checks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with.
But guess what? When I bought my gun, I had to pass background check.
Yeah.
You're talking about doing things that already are on the books.
That's what. Well, and they want to talk about the gun show loophole, which actually does, believe it or not, does not exist. Like, there's no such thing as a gun show loophole.
You still have to pass a background check.
And what they're trying to say is like, well, just regular old Joe Bob from down the street can go to a gun show and sell guns at a gun show. Okay, yeah, but the law doesn't say that the background checks apply to Joe Bob down the street. Like, if you are a licensed, was it FFL?
It's an FFL, yeah.
Yeah, if you're a licensed FFL, you have to do a background check on everybody.
Yeah, you don't get to skirt around that.
The only loophole to that isn't even really a loophole. It's if you, at least in Alabama, if you have a concealed carry permit.
It's not true anymore.
It's not true. They got rid of that.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I don't like that.
As somebody that bought a gun last year, I bought 2 guns last year. I bought one, sold it, and then bought the one that I've got currently.
Okay.
I mean, the one that's in the bottom of the lake currently.
Oh yeah, remember you lost all your guns in a boating accident.
Yeah, boating accident. Sorry, guys. But yeah, the concealed carry permit no longer grants you the ability to purchase a firearm without a background check.
Wow. Well, that's unconstitutional. What's unconstitutional anyway?
I don't agree. I think that it's perfectly legal to require a background check to purchase a firearm, because there are people out there that you don't want to buy. Like, you do not want these people to have guns. The problem is that whether you have a background check enacted or not, they're going to get a gun if they want a gun.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a slippery slope, I think. Like, if you enact background checks, okay, I'm going to use this as an example. I had a guy that I worked with. He apparently walked in on his wife with another man, right? Well, act of passion, he lays it down on the dude and, I guess gives him his 2 cents with his fist, right? Okay, well, apparently during that time, his wife also jumps on him. Mm-hmm. His wife jumps on him. Not on the dude, on him. Okay, well, apparently he gave her the, Ray Rice, 1-2, and I guess she filed domestic violence charges against him. Well, he ended up going to, I guess, prison, jail, whatever. He got a felony charge.
Aggravated assault.
Yeah, he was not allowed to have a weapon anymore.
Yeah.
So, but dude hadn't done, as far as I know of, hadn't done anything else since then. Like, he punched his wife for jumping on him.
Yeah, I mean, the law's the law. As law-abiding citizens, there are consequences for your actions.
Right.
And the consequence for him beating his wife's lover and hitting her in the face, Ray Ross style, is that you don't get to have guns anymore because it's assault and battery.
Yeah, but I think in that situation, though, the man's right shouldn't be taken away.
While I don't disagree, the law doesn't give that. It doesn't give that position.
Yeah.
And
it's like if any kind of gun laws need reforming, is that one.
Well, I don't even think it's that one needs to be reformed. I think it's more of, if you want to own a gun, you need to make sure that you're doing the right things.
Yeah, that's true.
As adults, you're capable of making decisions that are not going to negatively impact our liberties.
Right.
So I think that, whatever happened to prevent him from being able to own a firearm, that's kind of like what we've always agreed on. That's on him.
Yeah. I mean, that is based on a choice that he made.
So the problem that I have, though, is that you have Biden, who has been protected by this kind of weapon for 40-something years.
Right.
His Secret Service team carries, from the last I checked, it was Glocks. I think they carry Glock 17s, but I'm not sure. You can look that up if you want.
Let's see.
And let me know if I'm right, Joe. Okay. You've got the computer over there. So if they are carrying Glock 17s, they already don't meet the requirements for the gun legislation that Joe Biden wants passed, because the magazine capacity is exceeding 10 rounds. It's a 15 plus 1. I think it's either a 14 or a 15 plus 1.
Okay, let's see. According to Wikipedia, this is just as it pulled up on the search here. So the Secret Service's current duty sidearm is actually the SIG P229. So it's
okay,
still pretty good.
My dad has one of those. I mean, no, he doesn't. Yeah. Wait, no.
It's chambered.
My parents both have. It's a 9mm.
No, it's actually 357.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I think they do come chambered in different things. But yeah, 357. That's a lot of.
Okay,
bullet.
but it says it is scheduled to be replaced with Glock.
Yes, as most duty sidearms.
It may have already happened. I don't know how old this is.
Well, Wikipedia tends to be updated pretty regularly, so.
Of course, like I said, that's just what pulled up because there's a lot to read down there.
Regardless, that gun's going to carry more than 10 rounds.
Oh yeah.
What's the capacity on it? Does it tell you?
Oh, I didn't even see it. But yeah, no, like if it's a 9mm Glock, yeah, it's going to carry more than 10 rounds. My 40 carries more than 10 rounds.
Yeah, so, I mean, well, mine doesn't because it's single stack. Mine carries 8 rounds, but it's single stack. It's a very compact gun. It's easy to conceal. I love it.
Yeah, but they're
for that very reason, because it's easy to conceal.
They're going to want to carry something that can sling some capacity of.
Yeah,
of
I mean, because if the president's under attack, then, well, you need to fire back.
And I'm pretty sure that there's probably even some that actually carry a lot of the sub model of assault rifles.
Yes, probably.
That's just speculation, but I would not be surprised.
The other big issue that I have is the banning of AR-15s.
Yeah.
Because they're not assault weapons.
No, they're definitely not.
They're sporting rifles that can and should be used to defend your home.
And just for fun.
Just for fun. People like to shoot just for fun. You know?
I definitely used to be one of those people before the ammo prices went up.
So, you've got that. But my question is, what do you do with the people who already own AR-15s? Because you know that Congress is not going to put a grandfather clause in there for those who already own.
No, from
what are you going to do? Are you going to come and take it? Tell me.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Yeah,
I want to know.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know. I haven't read too much.
Because the last time I heard, Beto O'Rourke, who's one of the cabinet members for
he was supposed to be the one in charge.
Joe Biden said, "Hell yes, we're going to come take your guns. I'd like to see you try."
Yeah, this is not that. No, that's just not going to work.
You're not going to have a fun time.
No,
taking people's guns. It's going to straight up cause massive civil unrest.
Well, from what I understand, there's a lot of sheriff's departments that are straight up saying, like, if this goes down, we're not enforcing it, we're not doing it, we're not standing behind it
because it's unconstitutional. Right? You cannot pass laws like this.
That's what I'm saying. Who's going to breach that door? That's the question here. Who's willing to breach that door?
Yeah, not very many people, because you're going to put a lot of officers' lives on the lines. I support our police officers. There's a lot of people out there that say all cops are bad. They're not. You have some bad ones that get a ton of media attention, and then everybody says all cops are bad.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the restaurant service. You never hear about the great steak that people had. Well, yeah, you do. But
I mean, you do.
You do.
You do,
but
definitely.
What do you hear more of? Oh, no, this was terrible.
It's normally, the wait staff here sucks or whatever.
Yeah.
But, so, you've got that, and then you've got a 10-round magazine capacity. What are you going to do with all the people who have more than 10-round magazines? You're not going to grandfather clause that either.
Yeah.
The best thing about our government, in my mind, is that it's designed to create gridlock. So even if this bill gets passed through the House, it's not going to get through the Senate. You have a 50-50 split. The only thing that the Senate can pass with a 50-50 vote, with a tiebreaker from the president, or the vice president, I should say, is via budget reconciliation. Well, guess what? Gun laws, they don't fall into budget reconciliation. So you can't do that. So we don't have to worry about it right now, because it's not going to work.
Right.
Like the law is never going to pass. But you need to understand what they're trying to do. Right. They're trying to disarm you. Because once the people have no way to defend themselves, they can do whatever they want. This is all a power grab. And it's ridiculous. I don't support a lot of Republicans. I don't support any Democrats for the most part. And I think that all of them just need to remember why they're there. And why they're there is not to shove their beliefs down our throats. They're there to represent what we want. And the majority of this country does not want this.
Yeah. I think you see all the negative gun hype from... I mean, now that we have social media, it's not hard to see the anti-gun people come out of the woodwork.
No, it's not. And then the media doesn't do any better job of portraying gun ownership in a positive way.
Well, like, just like I saw
the media
a video.
is basically a giant lapdog for the Democratic Party at this point.
Right.
They do whatever they want.
I saw a video recently where, like, this guy is in a shooting range, and they're talking about, the heavy damage an AR-15 can do. And don't get me wrong, you can do some damage with an AR-15.
Oh, yeah, for sure, especially if it's not chambered in 5.56 or 2.23.
Yeah, I mean, you can go up to, a 308.
Go up to 308.
I'm not sure what other
300 AAC. There's all kinds of different... AAC. And 300 AAC, I don't know if you know too much about 300 AAC, but it's a subsonic round. That sucker will do some damage.
Oh yeah, it's
and when
intense.
you put a can on that, whew, you're talking movie silent.
No, I mean I've shot one with a silencer on it, but it takes a lot.
It's
for sure.
It's a lot. It's very, very quiet compared to
if you have not subsonic rounds going through it, like really you mostly just hear the round breaking the
sound barrier.
The sound barrier, yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I would love to build a 300 AAC assault rifle and then put a can on it. And
I got some friends that did that.
Yeah.
And
I think our buddy Richard's one of them, right?
Yeah. No, he lost his guns in a
Correct.
boating accident.
But he had it before he lost it in a boating accident. Okay. Just be clear about, what we're saying. Richard doesn't have it anymore, but
Yeah.
when he did, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. But that just scratches the surface as far as this gun bill goes. I mean, we're talking also.
Well, we're not even talking about the same gun bill, because I know where you're going. You're going to the House of Representatives bill that got introduced by the senator in Texas, or the representative in Texas.
Oh, so we're talking about something different.
Yeah, this was recent.
Oh, okay.
Biden called for this one, and then the representative from Texas. I keep saying senator because
Yeah, hers is even calling for us to. I think it's like $800 a year. Like you have to pay $800 a year.
So it's an $800 a year license.
No, it's for insurance.
Not for license, insurance.
Yeah.
It's a specific type of license for a handgun and a specific type of license for an assault weapon, and I did air quotes just so everybody's aware. And then they create a public gun and ammo registry.
Yep. And I think you have to register your magazines too. I think.
I'm pretty sure you're right on that. I read all of this earlier in the week, and I can't remember the exact details. I know we talked about it a little bit last week. This is the lady that said that an AR-15 weighs approximately 60 pounds, probably.
Or she I know she
it's
said
the
it
one
was
that said it was like as heavy as 10
box.
boxes that you would be using to move, and it utilizes a 50 caliber round, which we've already been over that. It doesn't. But it creates a database that's accessible by anybody. Anybody can pull it up and look. And it requires that you tell them where you keep your guns.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Let's just tell everybody where our guns are so that they can break into the house when we're not at home and steal them.
Yeah.
That's a great way to protect ourselves. Not. This is just, it's another example of Democrat power grabbing. That's all it's about. It requires a psychiatric evaluation. It requires a 24-hour training, which I think every gun owner should go through some training.
No, that's something that is like probably the smallest, the one of the main parts that I think I said.
Like for me,
I can agree with.
For me, I don't really need the training. I grew up around guns. Like I know what to do and what not to do with firearm.
Right. And that's what gets me. Is
but there are a lot of first-time firearm owners that don't know what they're doing.
Right.
I've talked to people who bought a gun and they don't know how to clean it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's I think that's more common than what there's people that are even very familiar with weapons as far as shooting them that probably still don't even know how to clean them the right way
to disassemble and clean and all of that stuff. Yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest part of it, but it's just crazy. The law that she's trying to put on the books is crazy town.
Oh yeah.
And no.
Yeah.
Hard pass on that one.
I just don't see how that's going to
Can you
go
tell what is that congresswoman's name?
What was her name?
Just look up House gun control bill. And it should tell you who sponsored the bill.
Well, I was on this one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Representative Jackson or Sheila Jackson.
Yeah.
Sheila Lee Jackson or Sheila Jackson Lee. I don't know. It's
regardless, she's an idiot. She's a moron.
Yeah,
and somebody elected her.
Yeah, she definitely has shown that she's not too competent when it comes to guns. Yeah,
I mean, it's a simple matter of okay, for one, you're in Texas. You're a representative in Texas.
Yeah, you're like in the gun state.
Yeah. So tell me which of your constituents who's well educated on firearms told you that this was a good idea. Nobody did, because you're doing what you want to do in spite of the people that you represent.
Pretty much.
You're not doing it for our protection. You're doing it so that you can hold power longer.
Just like I mentioned on the last show, there's a lot of influx of people from California into Texas.
Yeah, but it's predominantly into large cities.
Yeah, but even then, even so, like you look at
But
Georgia,
it's enough to flip the state purple.
Exactly.
It's more than enough to turn it purple. It could possibly turn the state blue, which is a huge problem.
Yeah, because if Texas goes blue, bro.
Well, that's something else that I wanted to talk about that I forgot to tell you. So, ranked choice voting.
Yeah.
Pull it up. Pull up ranked choice voting. Google
Ranked
it.
choice voting.
So ranked choice voting, and I probably am not going to explain it exactly correct, but it's basically some states. I think Maryland is one of them, or Vermont. It's somewhere up in the Northeast.
Okay, you want me to read the?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and read it.
So, ranked choice voting system is an electoral system in which voters rank candidates by preference on their ballots. If a candidate wins a majority of first preference votes, he or she is declared the winner. If no candidate wins a majority of first preference votes, the candidate with the fewest first preference votes is eliminated. First preference votes cast for the failed candidate are eliminated, lifting the second preference choice indicated in those ballots. A new tally is conducted to determine whether any candidate has won a majority of the adjusted votes. The process is repeated until a winner wins
is decided.
An outright majority.
So, basically, you have these people that tell you, oh, you're a libertarian, you're going to vote libertarian, you're wasting your vote. It shouldn't be that way.
Right.
Because if people could truly vote their conscience and not feel like they're wasting their vote, libertarians would easily take a lot of the vote away from either Republicans or Democrats.
Because there's so many people out there that are like, well, I'm not going to vote libertarian even though that's what I agree with because I just don't feel like they're going to win.
Yeah, and the thing is until we get something like ranked choice, if not ranked choice itself, it's never going to change. If you took everyone who voted for Donald Trump last year and switched them to a libertarian would have won that race. Mm-hmm. Like, they garnered enough attention and enough votes that they would have had more votes than the Democratic candidate. And I'm sure that if you had an option like ranked choice, there's a lot of moderate Democrats that would actually rank a libertarian higher as far as their agree with, who could then vote for the libertarian candidate, but also cast a vote for the Democrat candidate, just in case the libertarian doesn't get enough votes to win the majority.
I don't know, because I did look it up. You got all these people saying, oh, well, if it wasn't for you libertarians, Trump would have won. If y'all would have just voted for Trump, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they're right, but we don't agree with Trump.
No, I don't think they're right at all.
Libertarians are principled.
But see,
we vote our conscience.
I'm saying the point that I'm trying to make is I don't think they're right at all. Like, I don't think there was enough libertarian votes to even put him as.
Oh, there were. I do believe.
We'll look it up. Let's see.
There was a prominent libertarian that actually posted that on Twitter.
Let's see.
About how if all the Republicans voted libertarian, Joe Jorgensen would have won the presidency. Which, I mean, and we can talk about that all day long. Yeah. It's not an issue of what ifs. It's an issue of, there's a lot of people who are out there that are in the dead center middle of the political spectrum who really, if you could explain libertarianism to them the correct way, would agree with a lot of libertarian policies.
Oh, yeah.
But what they don't understand and what a lot of people don't get is that the president is not all powerful. Never has been, never will be. I watched the Patriot the other day. I was just scrolling through stuff.
Classic.
Just scrolling through some stuff on Netflix, trying to find something to watch. And I was like, oh, the Patriot. I haven't watched that in a while, so I'll watch it. And one of my favorite lines in the movie is when they asked him if he would fight to rid us of the tyrant. And he said, why would I trade one tyrant for 3,000 miles away for 100 tyrants
100 miles away
down the road?
Or something like that, yeah. And he says that, an elected legislature can trample a man's rights just as easily as a king can.
Yeah.
And he's right.
And you're seeing that. You're seeing that put into action with all these gun control legislation bills, with the shutting down of the Keystone Pipeline. And that wasn't even the legislature that did that. That was literally just an executive action.
Well, see, I think that's what worries me about the gun order stuff is how far will they let an executive action go?
I mean, executive actions are unconstitutional to begin with, if they're changing legislation.
Okay.
So, executive actions are meant to instruct the rest of the executive branch on how to execute a law, not to enact a new policy.
I got you.
Like, to use an executive action to make policy is unconstitutional. Like, the president does not have that authority. Never has. So,
I don't see how. Yeah, that's just.
I mean, and I don't know how many he's up to now, but a couple of days ago, he was up to 52 executive actions. Biden was.
Yeah, and supposedly it's the most that any president has done
in like 3 weeks, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just to undo some of the stuff that Trump did. Yeah.
And isn't he the one that said something about, like, if you rule by executive action, that's a definition of a tyrant? Isn't he the one that said that?
Hey, you watch it. You'll get fact-checked for that.
I mean, isn't he the one that said that?
He did. And the thing is like, if you say something like that on Facebook, they mark you as a fact check.
Oh yeah, but what mostly false is what I think Ben Shapiro said that, like, they're marking
partly true.
Yeah, they're marking everything
missing context.
Yeah.
No, I'm not missing any context. He literally said those words.
Like, for some reason, the media is marking everything supposedly that's anti-Biden as mostly false.
Let's talk about something else. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and we can link this into one of the other topics that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, you got to say her full name because you can't say AOC because that's, demeaning or something. Supposedly.
AOC, D-Twitch, as Ben Shapiro would say. She's more concerned with live streaming and trying to find out what a damn garbage disposal in the sink is.
Oh, that was...
Than anything.
That was so...
You elected that. Good luck.
I hope that was fake. I hope that was fake.
It wasn't. She literally streamed it.
I'm saying I hope she was kidding. Like, I really hope she was.
I don't know. Have you ever heard the woman talk? She's pretty stupid.
She definitely... I mean, she's the one that kept Amazon out of a impoverished neighborhood that could have probably easily brought that neighborhood out of the dumps.
Yeah, because capitalism works.
I mean, now granted, I'm definitely not a Bezos fan, but...
No, neither of us are.
Jobs are jobs, man. Like,
I have a buddy that actually used to work for Amazon up in New Hampshire, and
so is it as bad as what they say it is?
Yes,
it really is.
It really is. The working conditions there are terrible, but
because I've worked in some pretty hard working conditions, and
I mean we all have.
And that's
he didn't work there for very long.
I mean, to me, it's like, do they have air conditioning? If they have air conditioning, sold, sign me up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said last week. I sit behind a desk right now.
Yeah. Well, see, where I was working, before I got laid off, there was no air conditioning. It was a good job. Like, it paid good.
You got paid really well for it.
It's just there was no air conditioning.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when people are like, oh, if there's air conditioning, like, oh, I got to walk, 5 minutes to the bathroom. I'm cool with that. There's air conditioning.
Okay, so where I was going with that was that, we had the January 6th incident on the Capitol. I'm not going to call it an insurrection because I don't think that's what it was.
I don't consider it that either. I think most of the people got caught up in the moment.
I agree. They got caught up in groupthink.
Now, I think there was a group of people there that were dead set from the beginning to do what they did.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got vegan QAnon shaman. Not vegan, but he's, he refused to eat in jail because it wasn't organic or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, D-Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Ben Shapiro, I'm stealing your phrase on that one. I just love it when you say it. She claimed to be in the Capitol building as the protesters stormed the Capitol. She wasn't.
No.
But if you post anything about it on Facebook about how she wasn't in the Capitol, she was in a building a couple of blocks away where there were no active protesters at all, they mark it as partly true. No. It's not partly true. She was not in the Capitol building. There's a difference in the Capitol building and the offices of the people who work in the Capitol building.
Right.
So, I'm sorry, but your fact check is bullshit.
It's
for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of these Facebook fact checks. Like, and it's almost like sometimes they even miss.
There was one about Joe Biden when he told that guy in Pennsylvania, "I don't work for you." I think it was Pennsylvania. I'm not sure exactly where it happened.
Yeah.
But it was somebody. It was somewhere up north. Told a factory worker, "I don't work for you."
Fact check, Joe Biden. You do work for us.
Yeah. Fact check, Bo.
That's the way it works here in this country. You work for us.
You work for us. We don't work for you.
Right.
You know, he told that guy, "I don't work for you." And if you post about it on Facebook, missing context. No, I'm not missing any context. He literally told that guy he didn't work for him. Which is kind of the opposite of what you do when you're the president of the United States or trying to be the president.
Oh, not to mention these were like union people too, and like Democrats are supposed to be like the party for the union people.
And the buyer's remorse from the unions is hilarious.
Yeah, like especially after
the Keystone
Oh,
incident, because the union that was constructing the Keystone pipeline,
they pushed him. They pushed him pretty hard, didn't they?
Yeah. I can't remember the exact quote, but they were not happy.
Yeah. Which, the Keystone pipeline, like, I'm all for green energy. I love the idea of green energy, but fossil fuels do have their place for now, and we can't just, like, the way Joe Biden is trying to do things. He's like trying to just like literally just flip like a light switch, just flip it.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
And you're not going to be able to do that.
We don't have the infrastructure for that right now.
Well, even coming from somebody who, like, even just at the basic, everyday man's level, I work in lawn care and landscaping and stuff. And, dude, I mean, some of the electrical equipment is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the electric leaf blowers, from what I hear, they're pretty decent for, light jobs. But if you want to, like, say it's been raining for 3 days and you got to blow some leaves, from what I understand, they're not very good. Yeah. Like, you need some good gas-powered wind.
I know that I've got a buddy that uses one of the electric push mowers.
Yeah.
And he likes it. He said it works really well.
But what size yard does he have?
He doesn't have a very big yard.
Yeah, exactly. And see, it's like they want to push for, organic food and everybody having enough yard to...
That's just like, and the same thing goes for, like, electric vehicles. Like, okay, but what if I need to go more than 300 miles? And there's not a charging station anywhere on that route.
And that's where, hopefully, Elon Musk comes in and sets us up.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to get the infrastructure set up would be through private entities. It's never going to be like, okay, so at work they have a EV charging station. It's awesome. There's a guy that drives an EV BMW that works where I work.
That's cool.
So, like, he pulled up beside me when I was leaving work the other day. I couldn't hear the car. I was like, what the? And I looked over. I was like, oh, it's one of the electric.
Oh, man. The first time I saw a Tesla was down in Birmingham when I went to a concert. And, like, I was walking down the sidewalk, and all of a sudden this car's rolling. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, somebody did, they didn't put it in gear, or they didn't put it in park. Or
no, there's just no motor in that car.
And then I realized, oh, no, that's a Tesla. And then I started freaking out. I was like, dude, that's a Tesla.
Yeah, Teslas are pretty cool.
That was back when you actually had to have a lot of money to own a Tesla. Now, the average man
you still pretty much have to have a...
No, their base model now is only $35,000, man.
Yeah, $35,000. That's like $20,000 more than I paid for my car.
Dude, have you seen the roads? People driving... Like, we got high school kids driving around in like $50,000 diesels.
That they didn't pay for.
Well, I know, but that's what I was saying. Is
like, I'm super happy for you that mommy and daddy are rich, but I'm not.
Well, I know, okay? I'm saying, but like the basic man.
And I'm not saying that your mommy and daddy are rich.
No,
I'm just saying, for those high school kids. Because you know what I drove in high school? I drove a 1984 Ford Thunderbird.
Oh, yeah, I don't think either of our vehicles were very EPA friendly back then.
No, I mean, I drove the 84 Thunderbird. The motor blew up in it, and then I drove a couple of different S10s.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I don't even think my first truck had the catalytic converter in it. Don't tell the EPA that. That was years ago.
I mean, my grandfather's truck is straight popped. So
yeah, I mean,
because we took it to the shop and said, how much is it going to be to fix it? And he said, they don't make that part anymore. And then we said, well, how much is it going to be to not fix it? Hint, hint. $40.
Yeah.
And it ran like a dream after that because the catalytic converter was clogged.
That brings us to Texas.
Oh man, Texas is a fun one right now.
So we have the left touting green energy as the answer, and then you have the right pretty much like wondering why green energy even exists, and then you have...
I don't think it's so much as wondering why it even exists as to why are you pushing this so hard, because it's not reliable right now.
Right. Which it can be reliable.
It can be. There's places like Iceland that use wind turbines,
right,
and they don't have any problems. But they deal with these kinds of climates all the time.
Right.
Texas has been hit by a freak ice storm. It's like a once every 75 to 100 years that this happens. So...
And also, too, it's about how much money you want to put into it. Because right now, with the market the way it is with green energy, it's not cheap.
It's not. It's definitely not cheap. Like I actually had a discussion with somebody on Facebook today. It was not a discussion. It was an argument.
Oh, yeah.
About how people should be able to use green energy if they want to. Well, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but you're talking about millions of Texans that don't own their own land or their own home that can't put solar panels on their roof.
Oh, yeah. Like what about apartments?
You're not going to be able to put a freaking wind turbine in your front yard, okay? It doesn't work that way.
And from the research I've done on, you know, I'm a big fan of solar, because obviously wind power where we live would not be a very sufficient way of gaining power.
No, we're not flatlands. You know, we live in a pretty mountainous region.
Yeah, and then, I mean, we got a lot of times where you have days at a time that, I mean, your breeze may blow, but it's like that's just it. It's a breeze.
Yeah, it only seems to be breezy and windy when I'm trying to play disc golf, and then it just completely screws up my disc golf game.
But I'm a big fan of solar in our area, which, you know, you still have the times of the year where you're not getting a lot of sun, you know, i.e. winter.
Yeah, but that's when the batteries come in, and the batteries are great. Like, the problem is that the batteries they had in Texas, they didn't winterize them. They didn't make sure that they could withstand the cold.
And I also saw something about the windmills, too.
Well, they froze up.
Yeah. Well, no, they shut them down because they were afraid of them freezing up, something like that.
No, I think they actually started freezing up, and then they had to shut them down.
But they do actually make them capable of...
Yeah, they make heated fans and stuff like that.
So I saw a picture of windmills in Antarctica.
Well, not Antarctica, but...
no, I'm saying like well, yeah, they have them in Iceland.
They have them in a lot of places.
Well, Iceland's not that. It's Greenland. Are you sure you're not thinking about Greenland? Because Greenland is the one that's ice, and Iceland's the one that's green.
No, I'm talking... You know what? You may be right. I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny.
I think that's how it is, because, I don't know, people are going to be thinking, like, wow, those guys are idiots.
No, I mean, Iceland is the one that's green. I can't remember which country it's in. The last time I remember hearing it was Iceland that had the wind turbines.
But I saw a picture.
But still, they get really cold. They get a lot of ice and all that stuff, but they've winterized that stuff so that it actually works.
Yeah, because they're used to that type of, you know, weather.
Texas's grid is not designed to deal with harsh winter conditions. It's not, because you don't get a lot of that in Texas. And the point that the person that I was having this debate with this morning made was once every 75 to 100 years, that's in a given lifetime. Yes, I understand that, but why are you going to spend a ton of money to winterize things for a once-in-a-lifetime event?
I mean, to be honest with you, you're probably not even going to use it most of the time, and you're going to end up having to pay to replace it before you even use it.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to break down.
I mean, the companies that own and manufacture these things and put them on their land, they're there for profit. Yeah. Like, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah.
Like, their intentions may be pretty pure with it being wind energy.
Just like, I'm pretty sure the farmers, which, a huge fan of farmers, I back farmers 100%. But the farmers are thinking, hey,
you have a small garden.
Maybe I won't. Oh yeah. I got chickens, all that good stuff. I'm one of those tiny homestead, you know.
If you guys hear the hiss, I'm sorry, I'm vaping while we're recording.
But
huge fan of farmers.
Huge fan of farmers, and probably what they're doing, they're like, oh hey, these people want to put windmills on my property. Hey, maybe I won't be in the black this year.
Yeah.
Or red, not black. Black, I guess, would be good, but maybe I won't be in the red this year. Maybe I'll actually break even this year, because farmers, believe it or not, do not make a lot of money.
No.
Well, they make a lot of money, but not a lot of profit.
Commercial farmers.
Well, even then, like, I watched a guy on YouTube not long ago. He does a lot of corn. Matter of fact, it's Corn Star. What's it? Something Corn Star. But he actually put out. He didn't put the specific numbers, obviously, because there's You know, you don't want the competition knowing.
Well, yeah, you definitely don't want to give all your info away.
Right, but he was saying that he actually laid it out in general terms, and you actually see that actually if it, and this is, you know, maybe contrary to the libertarian way of thinking, but without the government assistance, they would actually lose money every year.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But honestly, like, we should be able to fend for ourselves if something were to.
Oh yeah, now when we want to
disrupt
get
the
to
supply
that,
chain.
yeah, like I said, I have chickens in my backyard, and those chickens produce way more eggs than I need. Matter of fact, I sell them. I sell the ones that I don't need, you know. And if I wanted to, I have a small set of solar panels that I bought at Harbor Freight, and those still costed though, like for 75 watts, it was still like probably $150.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not cheap.
They're not cheap. You know, a set of solar panels for the roof can run up to $5,000.
Oh, that yeah, definitely.
You know, and even higher than that. It just depends.
Like
on
if
the
you want
quality
enough
that
to
want.
run your entire home, yeah, it's not going to be cheap.
Which, granted, there's argument that you should be able to do that, and only rely on the locality power grid when you need it. Like in the middle of winter or whatever.
Yeah, but right now, the law says that you have to be hooked up, or at least I know in Alabama, I think the law says you have to be hooked up to the grid. If you are
Yeah, you have to be hooked up to the grid, but honestly, if you're pumping more power into the grid than you're taking from the grid,
Right.
they actually pay you for it.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
So, I mean, honestly, the solar panels could pay for themselves.
Yeah.
The problem that I have with solar panels and the batteries and the electric vehicles is
Obtaining them.
not necessarily obtaining them, it's how you obtain the materials.
Yeah,
to make
right. That's
them.
what I meant. Yeah. Like lithium is pretty much mined in third world countries by people with no PPE. Or
Yeah.
at least last time I checked, that's the way it was.
Yeah, and it's a huge polluter.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, what are you really gaining from it? Yeah, you're getting the feel goods from not doing.
But how many
pollution,
emissions, like, what are the emissions coming out of that plant?
Yeah, I mean, and the argument that this person on Facebook had was, why are you still touting oil and gas? Because it's what we have that's reliable right now.
Yeah, and I think it's still
not
necessary.
an anti-green energy argument. This is what's reliable.
Right.
Because coal and oil and gas, well, coal and natural gas in Texas has provided the most energy throughout this entire thing out of any of them. Wind dropped 93%, and I don't have any statistics on solar panels.
I don't have it pulled up anymore.
Regardless, what happened to Texas's grid? Texas is a completely deregulated power grid. It's not attached to the federal power grid at all.
Right.
They cannot share with other
independent.
states. They are completely independent, which, in my opinion, is how it should be.
Yeah.
They've had events where they've lost power for extended periods of time, but not in such extreme conditions before.
I know that supposedly with their system the way it is now, the only downside to them being independent is apparently Texans use more power than they're able to make, basically, and they have basically rolling blackouts to manage the power.
Not from what I don't know. I haven't read that, so I can't comment accurately on it. I know that right now they can't make enough power to supply the grid because of the
I'm talking about like I guess it's probably like the heat of summer, like when you're like in summer.
That makes sense, yeah. Because
Yeah.
it gets hot in Texas.
Right. And
You know.
that's probably when it is. But even still, like
I mean, but even then, California does that too.
yeah,
They have rolling blackouts during the summer.
yeah,
So basically, what you're looking at is you've got a blue state that they're not criticizing at all for their power grid, and then you have a red state that everybody on the Democrat side of the aisle is jumping on, saying, renewable energy, blah blah blah, and then you have the Republicans that are like, we have renewable energy out there. The renewable energy that we have currently is not working because of the weather. There's nothing we can do.
Right.
You know, and you can even go further and talk about how Ted Cruz went to Mexico or somewhere where it was warmer with his kids. That's his choice.
Yeah.
He can do that if he wants to. It doesn't look good on him.
No.
He's a pretty good senator. Like I think he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I listened to The Verdict with Ted Cruz. It's him and Michael Knowles.
I don't ever listen to that.
And hearing him explain some stuff that goes on in Congress, it kind of gives you an idea of how things actually go down in there. I don't know much about him outside of he, ran for president, lost, and what I hear him say on Verdict. Do I think he should have went off somewhere where it was warmer? No. His constituents are there. They're cold. They're freezing to death. But also, he's a sitting congressman, and you really don't need him dying right now because he's cold.
I don't think he'd die. But
I don't think so either, but that's not...
But real leaders suffer with their men, you know what I mean? Like, that's the way I see
the point that I'm making is that he's a leader, and he's more valuable alive than dead.
Yeah, that's true.
In the instance that the worst happened.
Right.
Not saying that it would by any means, just saying in the event. So his kids wanted to be warmer. I get that. I don't like the cold either. It was cold when I was playing disc golf today, and it sucked. But guess what? I was doing something that I enjoyed, so it didn't matter as much. So, like, if you're just there and miserable, I get it. Like, I'd leave too.
Yeah, maybe. Well, no, personally, me, I'd try to be ready for something like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like to think that I'm pretty well prepared for if my power goes out in the middle of the winter and it's cold.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, get you a generator.
Yeah, well, unfortunately.
Well, then too, you got to get gas and all that, but still, I mean, I don't know. Like,
did you see the guy that was powering his entire house with his F-150?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That's funny you mentioned that. Like, because people are like, oh my gosh, this is so innovative. And I'm like, well, I mean, you could probably do that with, like, a lot cheaper.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
but also, like,
check this out. This is cool. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but those trucks are really expensive.
Yeah, but I mean,
going back to paying $50,000 for a truck versus a Tesla.
Yeah, like, but honestly, because he was able to keep his family warm, like,
I mean, did it pay off?
It paid off in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much just a selling point for Ford.
Oh yeah, Ford's going to eat that up, which they should, and I would.
Yeah,
and I love
would
Ford.
too.
I drive a Ranger. I love it.
I like Ford. My grandfather was a Ford guy, so I've always been a Ford guy because of him.
And supposedly, they were the only company that didn't take a bailout. Supposedly.
No, they took a bailout.
You think so?
They all took bailouts. All of them. All of the Detroit-based automotive manufacturers. You got to remember, I worked in automotive for a long time. Like, they all took bailouts. Make no mistake.
Until I see a report on it, Ford is my hero.
I mean, I like Ford. The thing is the government shouldn't have bailed any of them out.
Oh, no.
It was poor management decisions that led to that anyway.
Yeah, well, and that's how you keep the small guy from coming up and trying to do something.
Yeah, you're right. That's another thing we can talk about is the push to disband all these large tech giants. They basically violate antitrust laws, and they do. YouTube is owned by Google.
Okay, it's like you're gonna have to explain this a little bit to me because I'm not very savvy when it comes to all this.
So basically, they're saying that the amount of influence that individual companies have in everyday people's lives is a huge problem, and I agree, it is. So you got YouTube, owned by Google. There's some other stuff that Google owns too. Then you've got, like, Facebook owns Instagram. Mm-hmm. They own WhatsApp. They own some other stuff as well. And they have control over all of these platforms that people post on. So basically they're able to say, no, we don't like what you're posting. And they also lock out entry from other competitors. Take Parler, for example. I didn't have a Parler account. I never did make one I don't really care. I mainly get on social media to either debate people on their political ideologies or keep up with old friends that I don't see anymore. So I really don't care about social media too much.
I mean, you don't watch cat videos?
I don't watch cat videos. I'm not a cat video person.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I watch cat videos. Everybody watches cat videos. Cat videos are great.
Communist.
So basically, you know, they're saying that because of the fact that you had a almost appearing to be coordinated strike on Parler via Amazon, via Apple, via Google, all of these companies are locking competitors out of the market. It violates antitrust law. So, you know, being libertarian, my rights being infringed upon is a problem. And if I can't enter the market to compete with you because you've got control over all of these entities that are going to basically just band together and say, no, you can't do that, you have two options. You either create a parallel conservative economy or you fight back and have these big companies disbanded and have new legislation put in place that says you cannot do this because you don't like what these people have to say.
But I feel like all of it kind of just is very, what do you call it? Well, hypocritical, I guess.
Yeah, but look at it. So, Apple, there's only one app store.
Right.
You can't get an Apple product to run an app that's not in the App Store.
Which that's their right. They can do that.
Yeah, they have every right to do that. What they don't have every right to do is to censor people and to pull things off their marketplace because they don't agree with the things that are said within that.
I mean, I don't know.
Because Apple's main reason was terms of service. They had stated that Parler lacked moderation. Parler did not lack moderation. What Parler had set up was like a 100-person jury, and they got backlogged. So any post that contained incitement to violence or any of that stuff, if it got reported, it went to a jury, and the jury either upheld the post or they struck it down.
Right.
You know, removal or keep. So there was moderation on the platform, but Apple's claim was that there was not. So the facts don't back up what Apple says.
But what
so they willfully and maliciously took that app off the App Store. They're getting sued for it, and they should be. Amazon shut down the web services, the server provider for Parler. They shut it down.
Right.
So now Parler is just gone. Google did the same thing. Google took off Parler from their Play Store. The other thing that's happened recently, especially with the GameStop saga, which, by the way, DFV, whose name is not appropriate, Deep Effing Value on Reddit, has posted that he bought 53,000 more shares of GameStop.
Wow.
Probably screaming stonks as he did it.
I did not get in that game, mostly just because
I don't know, but I know that guy wants the tendies.
I don't watch the market close enough to bail when it's time to bail. Because really, I mean, even Ben Shapiro talked about this. It's basically a pump and dump.
Yeah,
what they're going to do, they're going to pump
exactly
it up, and then people are going to make some money off of it. But I feel sorry for the last man out.
But, so back to my point, Google Play actively removed 1-star reviews of Robinhood after Robinhood shut down.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Why are you doing that? Like, these guys are
that's market manipulation.
These guys are manipulating the market in favor of the hedge funds, and you're covering their ass by taking off the 1-star reviews that are pointing out that they're shutting down our right to trade in the market.
Yep.
So, I mean, it brings about a lot of things, especially with disbanding these big tech companies. And like I said, I believe that they should be disbanded. That's one thing that I like about Texas's power grid is, honestly, they have the ability to choose their provider for power. It's not limited to just one place. Like, here,
Yeah, we're pretty
we
limited.
have one place that we can buy power from. Where I live, we have one place that we can buy power from.
Yep, and they can...
Texas, and the companies in Texas that were about to smack their customers with huge price increases, even forewarned their customers, if you don't want to get smacked with a huge bill, you need to find an alternate provider. You know, it's not like they're just greedy capitalist scum. They tried to do the right thing. But honestly, when the price of their resource goes up and makes it more expensive to produce power for the people, the price to the consumer is going to go up.
Right.
It's scarcity. Like, it's what happens.
Well, kind of like what we have is like, here it's a co-op, right? So I'm pretty sure that's how it works. The more people you have, the cheaper your electricity is going to be. Because it's not like...
I don't know. I mean, here we had that big scandal, the guy embezzling.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's
the money from.
And then
I think it was the water company here.
Yeah,
though.
and they try to say, oh, well, that has nothing to do with your water, your electric bill going up. But yet somehow, right after they got rid of him, everybody's electric bill went down. They're like, no, it just so happened to coincide with that time of the year when everybody's electric bill goes down. And I mean, we weren't there. We don't know. We can't say nothing specifically whether it was, it wasn't. It's just really
Regardless,
weird.
it's fishy.
It is fishy.
Something ain't right here. So, Texas enjoys some of the best power, like utility rates in the nation.
Really?
Because of their deregulated grid. Like, it's a great concept, but also the people of Texas are about to hold those companies that they buy power from super accountable for not preparing for this storm.
Rightly so.
Because they knew it was coming.
Right.
They chose to not prepare for it.
I mean, they've kind of talked about this whole ice storm thing for, I think, a couple weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time coming. Like, they knew it was coming.
Now, granted, I don't think you could have winterized those windmills within that time.
No, but so the gas companies that produce electricity via natural gas, they could have had more in reserve. They could have done a lot of things to prevent the extreme spike in demand.
Right. I will also say, though, from a libertarian perspective, though, it is also those individuals' jobs that live in Texas. Like me, like I said, here you have tornadoes, but, God forbid you have one hit your home. You don't know when it's going to do it, or if it's, either way. What I'm saying is, I have a generator. When was the last time that power went out for significant length of time that I would have needed a generator? That was back in 2011?
Yep.
So like 10 years ago.
April 27th, tornadoes.
Yep, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, you were the only person that I knew that had gas water heater.
Yeah, like everybody stayed at my house.
Coming to your house,
or my parents' house. It was my parents'
bomb.
house. I'm not taking credit for that. My parents were ready.
His parents definitely had the electric powered water heater. And
everybody else was
awesome.
taking cold showers, if they were taking showers at all. But we were taking hot showers, and we were eating hot food.
Yep.
We were living pretty good during that time.
It was a pretty rough period there for about a week.
Yeah.
There was about a week that nobody had power, and it took out a lot of the state.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that was 10 years ago. If I went off of that, kind of like how people are like, well, this don't ever happen. I don't have to get this. Why should I have a generator if it hardly ever happens? Well, what are you going to do that time it does finally happen?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't think ahead like that.
Right. Just like
you've got to take everybody's perspective into consideration. Not everybody's going to think like us, and that's fine. But the companies that knew the storm was coming, knew it was going to... Okay, so I can't say new. There's no way to tell how bad exactly something is going to be.
Right.
But you should still take steps to prepare so that your customers are not left in the cold to freeze to death.
Right.
Those companies that didn't prepare they're going to pay the price for it.
Yep.
Via lost customers.
Yep.
Which is the way free markets work.
Yep.
If you don't like the way somebody does business, you don't do business with them. You find an alternative. That's just like I said, these microphones that I ordered via Amazon will probably be the last couple of dollars that Amazon ever gets from me personally.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised. I was like, you're buying these off of Amazon?
It was,
We wanted to get this thing going, wanted to get it going quick, and that was the cheapest, fastest way we could do it.
Yeah, I mean, we probably could have done it through a different provider, but honestly, I had not yet decided whether or not I was going to stop doing business with Amazon.
Right.
But I've pretty much made the choice now that I refuse to do business with Amazon because of their A, the way they treat their employees, and B, the way they treat their customers.
Yeah.
Because the people that run Parlor paid them for a service that they shut off with no notice. So well, there's a lot to unpack with it. But so we've covered Biden's gun control law. We've covered HR. What's that bill number?
127, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, HR 127, which is the.
We went back and covered
the gun and ammo registry and the licensing,
the ridiculousness,
just completely unconstitutional nature of it. Which, granted, like I said, thanks to budget reconciliation, it's not going to get passed. It doesn't matter if they have 51 votes in the Senate or not. You have to have a 60 vote majority. I think it's 60. It might be a little bit higher. I don't know the exact number. Not off the top of my head, anyway. I could look that up.
What?
How many votes would it take to pass gun legislation in the Senate?
All right.
Let's find out. I want to know. I want to give you accurate information. See, this is why I should have brought my laptop, Joe.
Let's see.
I think it's 60 or more.
Gun amendment, it says Washington Post, the gun amendments, this is just the, headline. The gun amendments need 60 votes to pass, but why?
Yeah, because it can't be passed through budget reconciliation. You have to have a pure majority, or not a pure majority, but a plurality, I think is what it's called.
I'm not sure on that one.
Half plus one is not enough.
Right. It's got to be like, you got to be able to tell that that's what the people want.
Yes.
Not half the people want this, half the people want that.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, pure majority rule is a bad idea anyway. That's why the Electoral College was set up, is so that we wouldn't be subject to pure majority rule. Because there could be 49 really wealthy people and 51 really poor people, and the 51 really poor people could say, well, we're going to take all your money via this law, and we're going to distribute it among everyone equally. And then the 49 people who worked really hard for their money and their wealth all of a sudden have the exact same amount of money as everybody else who didn't work anything. Like, they didn't do anything for that money.
Right.
Pure majority rule is extremely dangerous. Just for the simple fact that, 50% of our population is in, 4 spots. You've got a couple of spots on the West Coast and a couple of spots on the East Coast, and then somewhere in Texas.
Yeah.
That's why, these people that post land doesn't vote, people do.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you've got an exorbitant amount of people in 4 population
Like, you don't want Washington, or you don't want New York. You don't want New York, San Francisco, and Dallas controlling the whole country.
No, that's not how it should work.
Right.
You don't get equal representation that way.
Right. That's why we have the Electoral College.
The Electoral College was designed to give us that equal representation.
Right.
And I used to, when I was younger, before I knew better, I thought that the popular vote should decide a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And as I got older and started understanding and becoming more in tune with my political beliefs, I realized, okay, that's a bad idea. That's a terrible idea.
Right.
So, to anybody that thinks the Electoral College should be done away with, I don't want you in any sort of power ever, because you believe in pure majority rule, and pure majority rule is dangerous.
Yep. Because, like I said, because then you're going to have all these yuppies in San Francisco and New York controlling the entire country, and that's just not going to be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the green energy laws that come out of places like that.
Well, and too, I don't feel like the people living in New York City understand the people living in, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
No, and they don't understand the people living in freaking Alabama.
Yeah.
The majority of Alabama, you know.
Like, we have different lifestyles. It's culture. It's completely different.
It's a completely different cultural view, and there's a lot of groupthink that goes on in all of these places, Alabama included. You know, there's a lot of groupthink that goes on where we grew up. There's a lot of groupthink that goes on in the Birmingham, Huntsville area. Like, there's a ton of groupthink, but there's way more groupthink in all of these Democrat areas, and groupthink is dangerous. And that kind of brings me to the firing of.
Now, I've never heard it called groupthink. Like, explain that real quick. Some people may not know what you mean by groupthink.
So groupthink is when a large group of people get together. They tend to segregate themselves into groups that think alike.
Like basically, in layman's terms, like a echo chamber.
Yeah, it's an echo chamber.
Yeah, but it's not dangerous in the sense that.
Oh no, it's extremely dangerous.
But what I'm saying is, we gotta be careful when we say that, because they would be the same ones thinking that, like, people that want militias and stuff, that's dangerous. So in a way, we can't really.
That is dangerous for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why?
But if we say,
because we will not submit to tyrannical rule over our lives.
But I'm saying we gotta be careful when we say that it's dangerous in their sense, because you don't want to be a hypocrite.
Yeah, but so the difference is that we're not after it. We're not group thinking in a way that's going to harm a lot of people.
They're group thinking in the sense of, what can we do to make people do what we want?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's exactly right.
And we group think in a sense, or at least people that think like us group think in a sense of, how can I just be left alone to lead, just mind my own business?
Let me look up this lady's name.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna see if anybody's got any questions for us.
Yeah, check and see.
So far, I'm not seeing anything.
I mean, it's just the second episode. We'll see how it goes later on. Gina Carano is who I was thinking of.
Oh yeah. Is that how you say your name? Because I thought it was
Gina Carano.
Serrano.
No, it's Carano as far as I'm aware.
Oh, yep.
I could be wrong. So basically, the whole reason that she got let go from Disney Plus was because she likened the liberal media active targeting of conservatism to the groupthink that took place in Nazi Germany.
Oh, like where their neighbors would, like, beat them in the street and stuff.
Well, the thing is it wasn't the Nazis that were coming into their homes and dragging them into the streets and beating them. It was the people that they lived near, because the Nazi Party was able to influence so many people in that country into hating the Jews.
Right.
That they, in essence, turned everyday people into Nazis. Whether those people actually hated the Jews or not, they cared more about their safety than the Jews.
Right.
So they drugged the Jews out into the streets and beat them. And it made it really easy for the Nazi Party to round up millions of Jews and put them in concentration camps and kill them. Like, that is the danger of groupthink. That's why majority rule is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then you've got places like Disney firing people for pointing out that it's a bad idea. Yet her co-star can tweet about kids in cages and use a picture that's not even kids in cages in America. It was a picture from 2010 in Pakistan. Talking about, separation of families at the border for illegal immigrants. Like, dude, you cannot fire someone for pointing out the dangers of groupthink via Nazi Germany and not fire the dude that's literally comparing America to Nazis, because the picture that he posted was of kids at Auschwitz over kids in Pakistan, not even America, and comparing the two, saying this is America. Okay, I'm sorry, but we don't do concentration camps here. Now, we'll go back and say that when we started moving west in the early years of the country, there were some pretty crappy things that happened to Native Americans.
Well, even in World War II, when we put
Japanese internment camps. We're not Nazi Germany, though.
Right.
There are things that America has done that were not necessarily good.
I think that's what people lose too.
But we didn't round up Asians and kill them.
Right.
Nazi Germany.
Not saying
rounded
that
up
what we did was
Jews.
right. It's just...
No, not at all. It's not to suggest that what we did was right, but it was a decision that was made mainly because of ignorance at the time.
Well, it was just like back during communism, everybody thought their neighbor was a communist. You know?
And so these people are basically pointing to conservatives as we're Nazis. You know, we're the bad ones. But they're trying to make everyone hate us.
Right.
So why make everyone hate us? Unless you're planning on doing something that's not quite kosher. I don't feel like Gina Carano should have lost her job.
No, I mean, I feel like, okay, they're a privately owned company, right? So
I mean, they can do whatever they want.
They can do what they
want. I don't care,
want.
but I mean, me personally, I don't have Disney Plus installed on anything anymore.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, the point of being a libertarian is you hope that people are going to make the right decision on their own without external influence.
Yeah, I mean, we're sovereign adults.
Right.
We are perfectly capable of making decisions that will benefit us.
Right. And it is very hypocritical for them to, get rid of her, but not people that lean radically left.
Yeah.
And have radical views in that direction.
She was basically targeted because she's a conservative.
Right. And that, to me, that's not right.
It's definitely not right. You know, it's just like if I were to, like, say, Joe, you're a Seventh-day Adventist, I won't hire you because of that.
Yeah, it's
discriminatory.
It is.
So anyway, we've kind of gone off what we had said we were going to talk about, because as we're sitting here, I have things that I knew that I wanted to talk about that I couldn't remember when we were putting the list together.
Next on the list is lefties trying to be libertarian.
Oh God, this goes back to that Facebook debate that I had earlier.
Well, I mean, we do. I feel like even you look on, we're from Alabama, so you look on the Alabama Libertarians page, and you see a lot of people that they really tout a lot of left views.
Now,
but they claim to be libertarian.
There's a difference in being a liberal-leaning libertarian and being an outright socialist,
right,
or a Marxist. So I had an argument on Facebook, as we've already talked about, and this person constantly is just spouting nonsense. All cops are bad, systemic racism, anything and everything that's just a pure leftist talking point. And there's a difference in being a leftist and being a Democrat. I want to be clear about that one as well. Leftists are extreme. They are the ones that want to cancel everybody. They're the ones that got Gina Carano fired. These people are not good people. And they want to tell you that you're the bad person.
Right.
But I've noticed lately there's an infiltration of pure leftism into the libertarian pool.
Yep.
And that's a pollution that we've got to filter out.
Yeah. Because, that's something that's been bothering me a lot. Because, and I'm not talking about like one of the topics that really I feel like divide the Libertarian Party is the abortion thing. And I'm not getting into that one because that's a very divisive topic in the Libertarian Party.
Well, I don't know how other libertarians feel about that, but I'll tell you how I feel about that. I feel like it's not any of my business what you do.
All right.
You're not hurting me. And I can't say that my belief on when life begins is your belief. And if you don't believe that your baby is a baby at conception, then I can't tell you that you can't take care of a problem for you.
But see, for
me, I don't advocate for abortion, but I advocate for leaving people alone.
I like how you put it there. Like, and I kind of can agree in a sense that I don't advocate for abortion, but I advocate for the government not being involved.
Yeah, it's none of the government's business at all.
Like, that's between you and, I believe God,
Yeah, I mean, and that's my thing too. Like, I would never want someone that I'm having a baby with to have an abortion with my child.
Right.
Because I believe
that it's a child.
That it's a child.
Right.
Me too. That's my view. Now, for argument's sake, if you and your wife found out that you were pregnant and you did not want another baby,
which we are, by the way.
Yes, you are very blessed.
Just a couple months to go.
But the point is that if I were to find out that you and Beth were having a baby,
all right,
and you did not want to have said baby and did not want to carry the baby to term, what you do from that point is between you and Beth. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to judge you for making the best decision for you, because as sovereign adults, we have the ability to make choices that are for the betterment of our life, not based upon what anybody else thinks.
Right.
So to be forced into doing something or not doing something because of how somebody else feels is, to me, it violates my principles as a libertarian, because I wouldn't want somebody to tell me I can't do that thing that I want to do because you don't agree with it.
Right.
It's not your place. I want to do it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't care if you have a problem with it.
Right.
And that's a lot of the libertarian mindset. The problem is that there's a lot of liberals, as I stated, that have kind of infiltrated the party, that will say things like all cops are bad. And if you support law enforcement at all, these same libertarians will assault you, whether it's physically or verbally or through text or whatever, and basically call you any name they can because you support the police.
Right. And really, as a libertarian, you should support, at least in my opinion, support the police on at least a small level, because that's what separates us from the anarchists, is that some level of government.
So the deal with the police, with libertarianism, is that as long as they're not, harassing me.
Right. Like, it shouldn't be, I don't think the police should be at the level they are.
No, I don't either.
Like, I feel like police play too big of a role in our society. But that's not saying they shouldn't play no role in our society.
They definitely shouldn't be extorting me for my money via speeding tickets or any of that such
But
thing.
see, at the same time, though, how do we solve that issue? Like, how do we keep people from speeding?
Well, it's not really our issue to solve.
But I mean, if you were like a in the legislature, like, what do you think? I mean, is it kind of like, well, no, like kind of like having the Autobahn?
Okay, but so to prevent me from speeding, you're going to chase me in your car,
speed, and put people
with speeding, with obnoxious lights and probably sirens that are distracting to other drivers. So
but it also lets people know you're coming, though.
But my thing is what's more dangerous? Me speeding by 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, or you chasing me with lights and a siren and also speeding?
Yeah, that does make a good point.
Like, it's kind of like seatbelt laws. Seatbelt laws are the better one. Me, as a sovereign adult, if I choose to not wear a seatbelt,
that's my choice.
That's my choice.
Yeah,
because the only person that's going to get hurt by that choice is me. Well, I mean, it's going to, like, if something were to happen, God forbid, that I die, obviously my family's going to grieve and things.
But that was because of a choice you made.
But that's my choice.
Right.
To wear or not wear a seatbelt.
Right.
And I don't know if you know this, but my mother was in a serious head-on collision when I was 2 years old with a drunk driver that literally almost killed her. Mm-hmm. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt. But if she had been wearing her seatbelt, it would have snapped her neck. she would have died.
Yeah,
instantly.
I believe there are definitely some lawsuits on the book because of seatbelts.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the end-all be-all safety measure.
No.
But in any means. I mean, but...
Well, I think one argument that has been brought up before as far as libertarians are concerned is privatizing the police. Like, actually making the police more really subject to the people, because if they do a bad job, we can basically be like, well, we're not using you anymore. We're going to go to some other company.
Yeah, privatized policing is actually probably one of the best ideas as far as getting the police under control.
And I've even seen an article where they said that they've had...
And that's not to suggest that the police are out of control either, by the way. So
No. But, I mean, no, just like anything else, like bad service, you have bad cops.
Yeah, you're going to have bad cops.
You have some cops that are out of control.
Bad principals at high schools. You're going to every profession. There's somebody that's bad at what they do.
Yeah, you have, like I said, you have some cops that are out of control. Not all the cops are out of control.
Right. So I don't even remember what we were talking about now.
So we were going towards privatizing the police. I saw an article where they were talking about, I guess there's one area where they actually did disband the police department. But I think it was because they couldn't afford to keep it open. I couldn't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. But apparently, like, private citizens came together, and apparently there was, like, a security company or something that actually had private, air quote, police that started patrolling the area. And they said that nobody has been, I think maybe one person's been shot. And even that, I'm not too sure. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read this.
Yeah.
And they said that they did a lot better than, regular police officers.
Yeah, I mean, regular police officers are governed by the government.
Right.
As far as, well, you need to make sure you're enforcing this law or that law more strictly than other laws. Laws are laws. You need to enforce them all equally.
Yeah.
And what really gets me is I've been pulled over before for going slower than the guy that just passed me who was speeding, doing like 80, 90 miles an hour. Why are you pulling me over? I'm doing like 5 over the speed limit, dude. He's like already, you can't even see him anymore. He's already gone.
Right.
So why did I get pulled over? You're doing 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Okay, so your point? Because he's doing like 30 over. And you stop me.
Yeah, I get it. I get it, man.
It doesn't make any sense. I think that...
But then too...
Speed limits are generally good, but really it's more of a suggestion on speed.
Or you're saying it should be more of a suggestion? It should
be more of a suggestion.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I could have worded that. It should be more of a suggestion than a law. Obviously, people are going to use their best judgment when behind the wheel as to how fast they can go down a road. You're not going to drive in a way that's going to put your life in danger.
I don't know. There's some people.
As with everything else, there are some people.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you're going to do a safe speed down any given road.
And generally speaking, too, those people that do that can be held accountable according to, the non-aggression principle. Like, hey, you drove really fast and that put somebody else in danger and that person got killed. So you can be held accountable because you were doing that.
Yeah. I mean, blatant disregard for human life is blatant disregard for human life. And that's one of the things that, pro-lifers will say, you're disregarding human life. Well, I don't view it as human life.
You do, but
I do,
making the argument for someone else. Yeah.
Making the example in the case of someone else, like they don't. They view it as a clump of cells.
Right.
To them, it's no different than cancer. If you've got cancer, you're just gonna let it grow? No, you're gonna get rid of it.
By the way, that's not reflective of our personal opinions. We're just using that.
No, it's absolutely not reflective of my personal opinion. I would fight tooth and nail to make sure that nobody could abort my baby.
Right.
But
that's a whole nother topic for another day.
That's a whole other issue.
We're supposedly, just to kind of scrape the top of it, they are supposedly trying to make it to where men can fight for their child.
They are, yeah. That's something that's getting a push.
Which, that, like I said, could be a divisive topic for another day.
I read that somewhere earlier this week, and I can't remember where it was, but I did see it. I know it was posted through the Fathers' Rights movement.
Yeah.
On Facebook. It's about the only place I would see something like that. What about the Capitol?
You mean like the Capitol riots?
The storming of the Capitol.
We covered that already, didn't we?
We kind of touched it.
Well, personally, so here's what I think. I think it was a long time coming, and I think a lot of the people, whether they wanted Donald Trump, I think it was stupid to do it for Donald Trump, but say if we completely took it off the top and said that they were there because of gun rights and because of taxation and all that stuff, can we say that we would probably agree with what they did?
I would say that doing it for the reasons that it was done...
Completely wrong.
Completely wrong. It shouldn't have been done for that reason.
Right.
Democracy is sacred in America.
Right.
Trying to overturn the results of an election because you don't like who won. I'm sorry, but didn't Democrats do that for like 4 years after Donald Trump?
And y'all got mad about it.
And you got mad about it?
Right.
And now you're doing the same exact thing?
Right.
Because, let's just face it, Donald Trump lost.
Yeah. And you try to, they're like, well, they rigged the election. Look, man.
Okay, so I can hold a position of believing that the election was absolutely rigged in Joe Biden's favor via social media.
Oh yeah. If you want to talk social media and the media in general, yeah, it was rigged for Joe Biden the whole way.
There was, they literally babysat Joe Biden.
Yeah. But
a man who cannot create a coherent thought through half of his campaign trail.
Right.
I've already said he called that guy fat. He told that guy he didn't work for him. He called one guy a lying, dog-faced pony soldier. He threatened to fight a guy. He didn't get any coverage for any of that.
But like,
stuff.
if we're gonna, and now I'm people that know me know I'm a conspiracy theorist. Now, if you want, and I'm even kind of like,
okay, let's dial that back. We don't want conspiracy.
No. I'm actually about to turn it down. Like, if you want to talk about the what is it, the Illuminati. If you want to talk about the Illuminati coming in and like, controlling the election and stuff, couldn't they have controlled that when Donald Trump won?
Yeah.
Like, we're not touting the Illuminati here. I'm just saying, like if supposedly it exists and we're going to go that direction, we want to claim that, the powers that be controlled the election. Doesn't that mean they did it for him to win too?
It would suggest that.
Because those people, if there are those people that do exist, they're not going to lose. They're going to get what they want.
Yeah. And if they wanted Donald Trump, they would have got Donald Trump.
Yeah. And at first they wanted Donald Trump if they controlled it,
Not saying that the Illuminati controlled the election.
No.
I will argue, though, that the media did control the election.
Oh, yeah. No, I think so completely.
And there was also some stuff that happened in localities that, I don't know. Seems wrong.
But see, fraud and all that stuff, that happens every election.
Yeah, it's to the extent to which the fraud occurs. So, I think, for me, the biggest problem that I have with the election was the sweeping changes to how the votes would be cast in places like Pennsylvania, where,
I think you should show up in person. If you wanted a
mail-in ballot, you could get a mail-in ballot for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think you should show up in person.
In some places, they just send them out. You don't even have to request one.
Yeah, and supposedly there's videos going around of people getting like 5 of them.
Yeah. I work with a guy. His dad went to vote in person, and they turned him away and said that your vote's already been cast via mail-in.
That's crazy.
And he was like, I did not vote via mail. Like, that is not how I do this. I vote in person. So, I've heard personal stories of that. Whether they're true or not, I can't speak to, but it's out there. And there's a lot of Americans that don't trust the system right now.
Yeah.
Because of what happened. You know, you saw Donald Trump going into the night with a pretty substantial lead in a lot of these places.
Yeah.
And then just dumps for Biden. But that's to be expected with mail-in ballots because we were all touting go vote in person.
Right. That's why I think it should be. It should, and people want to be like, well, it's dangerous with a virus, blah, blah, blah. Democracy is dangerous, man.
It can be. Pure democracy is dangerous.
Like I'm saying,
but we're a democratic republic.
But I'm saying freedom is dangerous. Like, if you're not willing to die on the hill of freedom, then really, do you really need to be voting? At least in this country.
I mean, that's kind of true too, I think. But so going back to the Capitol, Donald Trump, for better or worse, played up the election drama a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He kept it going, and kept it going, and kept it going. And there's a lot of people even with the impeachment that happened after the riot. Incitement to violence. He didn't incite anybody.
No, he mentioned, like, we're going to walk down. I'm going to walk with you down to the Capitol.
He literally said, peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol building. I'm sorry, but that's incitement. How?
Yeah.
But then you have Maxine Waters telling people that if you see a Trump supporter out in public or a member of the Trump cabinet or administration, you get in their face and you make a scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one guy killed a dude after Bernie Sanders said something. I forgot what Bernie Sanders said.
Yeah, the congressional baseball shooting. So basically, Bernie Sanders had been saying that the Republicans don't have a plan for health care. Their plan is that you die. And then this guy gets a gun and goes to a congressional baseball game.
No joke. He says, this is for health care.
He legitimately screams, this is for health care, and nearly kills a senator.
Yeah. Like, you nearly, like that makes no sense. Like, you're going to yell, this is for health care, and then kill a dude. Like, what?
But, question. Did Bernie Sanders get impeached for incitement?
No.
Oh, that's right.
I don't even know if it was even questioned. Was it even questioned at all?
I don't think so.
I
know it has been recently.
Yeah, recently, yes. Seeing how things are now. But when it happened, I honestly didn't even hear about it till...
I didn't hear about it until way later.
I didn't hear about it until all this happened.
Yeah.
And then brought it up, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so there's that. There's the Maxine Waters. There's Kamala Harris saying that these protests should go on as long as they have to, and you should bail these people out of jail.
Nancy Pelosi. What is she, the third in line to be president? And she, isn't that right, Speaker of the House? Something like that?
I can't remember.
I'm not sure. Don't judge me on that one.
I'm not up to snuff on my...
She is one of the ones in line.
Succession order. Let's look it up. How about that? I'll look it up.
But regardless, she is one of the people in line to be president in the line of succession. And she straight up said that, well, maybe there needs to be uprisings in the country.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely did say something about there being a need for uprisings after Donald Trump's election. So yes, you were completely correct. Speaker of the House is the third in line.
And, people are like, well,
it goes Vice President, Speaker of the House, President pro tempore of the Senate, and Secretary of State. So those are the first five.
Okay. And now, granted, people
Sorry,
did die.
there's four.
People did die during the whole Capitol riot.
Yeah. The thing is that most of the deaths were pro-Trump.
No.
People.
No. See, one cop died, I think. I think it was one cop and a protester. Now, the protester...
There was a guy that had a stroke.
Yeah.
There was a couple more. I literally listened to something about it on the way here. Regardless, the cop that died, they tried to say that he was murdered, that he was hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, and it was found out to be false. Do you think that stopped him from going with the fire extinguisher narrative? No. They kept touting that, trying to get the guy thrown in jail for the rest of his life.
The sad part, though, and this is from Politico, apparently the second police officer killed himself afterwards, though. Mm-hmm. That's something to be concerned with. I mean, and I think that goes towards that mentality of people making this. Me personally, man, like I said, I come from conspiracy land, so to me, these people storming the Capitol, while it was surprising to me, it was surprising that it was actually happening. It wasn't a surprise that it happened.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a shock for me that it was actually happening.
But at the same time, you're sitting back like, well, it was kind of a long time coming.
The problem that I have with it is it wasn't done for the right reasons.
Right. Now, if they would have been up there saying, "Hey, you're not going to take our guns, and you're not going to raise taxes on me,"
yeah, I mean, this should serve as a reminder to Congress.
Yeah, I may have been there if they would have been doing that. You know.
I mean, I think most of us would.
Right.
Or at least try to be.
But you were getting that. This is a reminder to Congress.
Yeah, this is a reminder to Congress.
They should show you who's really in charge.
You work for us,
right.
Not the other way around.
Right.
I think the only time that I've been really, really, really fired up about anything that a senator or representative has said was when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez told Americans to sit down and shut up. They were in charge. No, you're not. You're not in charge. You think you're in charge. But you're not. You work for us.
I'm still confused at how she even got in there, man. Like, she is. Oh, and people wanted her as president. Believe that or not, or at least vice president.
Well, thank God that didn't happen.
Like, you want to see somebody storm the Capitol? I'll storm the Capitol.
I'm not sure that Kamala Harris is much better. She's a giant hypocrite, and for somebody that called Joe Biden a racist on the debate stage, you sure are buddy with him now.
Oh yeah.
I think if I was Joe Biden, I'd be getting a food taster.
Well, that's the way politics work. People that just goes to show you that it's all just a big game.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot of senators that have come out and said after they get off camera, all of these people are just buddy with each other.
Oh yeah.
And
which, granted,
I think a lot of it's just aesthetics.
Well, in a way, it should be that because you want to try to get along with these people.
Well, you've got to find common ground.
Right.
If you don't have any common ground, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
Which right now, I'm glad they don't have very much common ground because that would mean gun control laws, and I don't want that.
No, definitely not.
I hope that picked up. I got real quiet right there for a second.
I think
but, there's a lot going on right now, and I'm pretty worried about a lot of it.
It's definitely, it's both an exciting time to be alive and a scary time to be alive. Exciting in the sense of we literally are landing rockets that we've shot into space back on Earth and we're using them. That's exciting. That is cool.
Yeah.
It's scary in the sense
SpaceX is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Huge Elon Musk fan here. SpaceX, hint, if you want to,
It's not going to happen. It's never going to be a thing, Joe.
But
as much as that money would be nice.
What was I getting at? But it's scary in the sense that our rights could be starting to get threatened.
It's not even a question of could be. They are.
Oh yeah,
they're being threatened.
Well, I mean, that goes back even before. That goes back all the way to Bush. I mean, we're talking, the Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act was a blatant infringement.
Oh yeah.
On our rights. And then Edward Snowden has been on the lam because of it for 15 years now.
Yep. Something like that. It's been a minute.
He's out. I think he's in Russia right now. Last I heard.
I think so.
But for me, the government really needs to be brought back into check. Stop all this excessive spending.
By the way, that's not us saying, "Hey, you should go storm the Capitol."
No.
Because I don't want to end up on the news tomorrow saying, "Oh, this podcast incited a riot."
I mean, worst comes to worst, there's a revolution, but I don't want that.
No, but
because
nobody
I think
wants
that we have more common ground than anybody really would expect.
And not to mention, I mean, I've heard a lot of veterans and stuff talk about that. And whether we need one or not is irrelevant. It's the fact that if there is one, that will, I think people laugh about it and think that,
it will permanently change the landscape of this country.
It will change the world.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like, it's not going to be pretty. Like,
No,
we're not talking
won't.
about, making it look glorious like it does in the Patriot. It's going to be ugly. Children will die.
Even in the Patriot, it doesn't look very glorious.
Well, I mean, but they do have parts where, he's running through the field with the American
flag.
flag.
Well, of course.
Like, no joke, modern day dude would have been taken out with a sniper like that. I mean, he would have been
lucky
gone.
to have made it across the field to begin with, even with that era of weaponry.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even in the Patriot, you see the main character's son gets shot in the street by a British soldier.
And I like what he says in the Patriot. He talks about being a parent and how he doesn't have the luxury of principles. And man, I related to that so hard after I become a parent. It's like you still want to support your political ideals. And I mean, honestly, it's almost like I would support the idea of a revolution as long as it's done the right way. But then at the same time, I don't, because I'm afraid of what would become of it.
Yeah.
Like, because what if the wrong people win?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
because I mean, what if a bunch of Klansmen end up becoming president? That's not going to be a good day.
But also, there's that quote, and I don't know who said it, but if trouble comes, let it come in my day.
Yeah, and then there's that too. It's like if we're going to face that. I want to be the one to face it. I don't want my children to face that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want my daughter to grow up in a world that's just completely war torn.
But at the same time,
my daughter's already here. So if it happens now, it's too late. You know
exactly. That's what I was about to say. Is like, really though, we're kind of past that now because we have our children, or I have the second one on the way, and it's just. Even just having my wife, who's not a very outgoing person, she's very modest, keeps to herself. She don't like causing issues with anybody. She doesn't voice we're like the complete opposite. She doesn't voice her opinion or political beliefs out there for everybody to see. And, I feel, I'm fearful for people like her and my children who just, they just want to live their lives and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I don't want my daughter to grow up having things forced upon her that she doesn't want.
Right.
And I would rather a revolution not be the way that we solve this. I would rather see things enacted like term limits. I would rather see a ban on any campaign funding from companies. I would like to see lobbyists kicked out of Washington. There's too much greed and basically crony capitalism that goes on in Washington, D.C. right now. And it's a huge problem. There was a comedian that once said that senators should have to wear logos on their jackets so that you know who's paying them to make decisions. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because you'll see exactly who's controlling the country.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll find out real quick that it's not us. And the whole purpose of a representative house of any sort is to represent us. You have 2 senators per state. That's the balance. And then you have population-based representatives. That's the people.
Right.
Either way, they represent us, but you have to have an agreement between the two to get legislation passed. So, I mean, we've got a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah. And even being libertarian, that we've got even more work to do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're barely even on the map. Well, I wouldn't say we're barely on the map.
Oh, no, there's a lot more people that know who libertarians are now. The thing is that I saw a study last year during the presidential election that said 20% of Americans identify as libertarian, but 94% of Americans have libertarian ideals.
Right. I think more people don't realize how much of a libertarian they actually are.
Yeah. I mean, one of the shipping guy where I work, he always says he's a Republican, but the more we talk to him, I told him the other day, I said, I think you're actually a libertarian that's just very conservative leaning. And he just looked at me and he goes, you know what, you're right. I am more of a libertarian than a Republican. Because he supports some of the same things that I do, like, the decriminalization of weed, at minimum weed. And, the free market and the Second Amendment stuff, all the big points for libertarianism, like he fully agrees, and as far as like the Second Amendment goes, if the government can have it, I should be able to have it.
Exactly.
Because,
I think there was a picture the other day and it said, how Second Amendment are you? And it was a dude with a rocket launcher. Well, I've even seen one where it was like, had like drones on this house and had a tank like parked in the front.
Yeah.
Like
there's
that's
a tank
how
in the garage. That's how libertarian I am.
Yeah, that's how libertarian I am. I want to be able to wake up in the morning
and drive to work in a tank.
And well, I was gonna like go into like a full story. Like I want to be able to wake up in the morning, sling my AR-15 over my back, walk down to the whatever restaurant or wherever I want to eat breakfast at, pay them in whatever form that they want to take as far as capital, whether it be trade or if I bring them just some fresh eggs and they're like, hey, we'll give you breakfast if you bring us a dozen fresh eggs, whatever.
Something.
Yeah, something. And then walk down to the local tank dealership
and purchase a tank.
And then drive it to get me some lunch through the local McDonald's. I mean, I don't know how good that's going to be on the roads, but that may not be very good on the asphalt. We'll have tank roads. That's what we'll have. Like, we'll need to have tank roads. This is, of course, all jokes.
Parallel economy.
This is all jokes. This is all in jest. But in reality, that's the kind of freedom, though, that I want.
Yeah, I mean.
And by the way, then I'm going to take that tank afterwards, and I'm driving to your house where you have bought an F-16, and we're going to, give a car wash to your F-16. Because it's a nice summer day that it's not right now.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely cold outside. All right, what have we not hit that we were going to hit?
Well, all that's left is we need to mention the Libertarian Alabama State Convention.
Yeah, and when is that?
That is, let me see, it is March 19th through the 21st. It starts March 19th at 5 p.m. and goes till Sunday at 3 p.m. Okay, so the first day is Friday, March 19th.
Does it cost anything to get in?
Yes. Friday is, they will have the keynote with John Mons. They have appetizers and a cash bar, and it's $30 to get in on Friday.
Day 2's where it's at, though.
I think day 2, yeah.
How much does day 2 cost?
$55.
Okay, but Spike Cohen.
Cohen is going to be there.
The vice presidential candidate from the Libertarian ticket in 2020 will be there. Spike Cohen has some really good, awesome points that he makes on a regular basis.
I've got to really commend him, too, for not like, most libertarians, whenever they lose the election, which they do.
Yeah, we do because we get locked out of everything.
But, when they just kind of disappear. We don't hear about them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what Gary Johnson's doing anymore.
And, dude, he is still out there, like pushing.
He's pushing. He's playing the long game.
Yeah. Well, you got to. In the Libertarian Party, you got to, man.
A lot of the Libertarian candidates don't want to play the long game. But, I mean, when you look at Gary Johnson and the things that he was able to do when he was governor of New Mexico, he did a lot of really good things. Like, he actually did give health insurance via the state to the citizens of the state. The same health insurance that the state government used, all the citizens had access to.
Nice.
He repaired all of their roads. He balanced their budget. Like, if you want to know what being a libertarian is about, it's about balanced budgets, being protected, and being free.
Yep.
I should be free to do what I want to do. The only thing I need government for is defense and infrastructure. And really, I don't even need them for infrastructure because private companies can do that way cheaper than governments can.
Really defense either, because that's our duty ourselves to defend our country.
Well, that's the point of having mainly volunteer armed forces. Well, actually, it's completely. We're the only nation that has a 100% volunteer armed forces.
But back to Saturday, it's $55 to get in. They're going to have the cash bar, buffet dinner, annual awards, and Seth and Willie Fred show featuring Spike Cohen. And that's Saturday. It's $55 to get in. Me and Justin said that's probably the day we're going to go.
Yeah. Going to try to.
Yeah, we're going to try to be there. And look for us. We're planning on having Embers of Liberty podcast t-shirts by then. So
hopefully.
Hopefully. We got big plans, but we don't know if they're going to play out as quickly as we hope. But that's Saturday, and then Sunday is showing a guest speaker to be announced, and it's $40, and that's on Sunday. And that's about all we have for today.
So, the one thing that I will ask is that if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Make sure you like the videos. Make sure you watch the whole video every time. It'll pump the reach. And I wanted to let you know that we are now on Apple Podcasts, and we're working on getting on Spotify and Google Play so that we'll be able to get to anybody and everybody that may be interested. Also, I'd like to announce that we're going to be doing Third Party Sunday. It will be every third Sunday of the month. So the first one will be the third Sunday of March, where we're going to take one point from the Libertarian platform and we're going to explain it as best as we can so that you truly understand.
Like we're going to tear it apart.
We want you to truly understand where we come from as libertarians. I think it'd be very beneficial. And if you're not sure where your political leanings are and you're just out there looking for information, we're going to try to lay it out as best we can for you as to what our party stands for. And I think that if you really dive into what we believe and what we stand for, you really find you're probably more libertarian than you are Democrat or Republican. The two-party system is broken. And the only way that we're going to get anything accomplished is through you. We have to be out there. We have to spread the word. We have to make sure that we go vote. We have to go vote for our candidate. We can't just vote the lesser of two evils anymore.
Yeah, don't listen to these people that are like, well, that's the problem is we don't have enough people, and we need people voting for people that aren't Democrat, or we don't need people that aren't, voting for that aren't Republican. Don't listen to those people. Do not listen to those people.
Do not listen to the people that tell you you're wasting your vote. You're absolutely not. Your vote is meant to be your voice. I can't stress it enough. If you don't like the way that the country is going, you have to go vote. And you have to vote for candidates that are going to stand for your beliefs. And you have to do that consistently in every election, whether it be state, local, federal, whatever the case, you have to go vote. It's the only way we get things done.
And get involved. I mean, even if it's just, like this, starting your own podcast,
obviously we'd prefer you didn't.
Yeah,
we'd prefer you just listen to ours.
But, one thing I'm thinking about doing is getting involved and getting signatures, to get Alabama on the, what is it, to get the Libertarian Party on the Alabama ticket. Like there has to be so many signatures in order to do that, or something like that. I can't remember.
For like local elections?
I think so, something like that. No, it's in Alabama.
No, so Libertarian candidates for president, at minimum, are on the ticket in all 50 states. It's the only other party than Democrats and Republicans that meet the criteria to have a candidate in all 50 states.
Okay, it's for 2022 ballot access.
Yes. So that's an important one because that's a local election. That's
so on the Libertarian website for Alabama, the Libertarian Party of Alabama website, it says, the most important task facing us right now is to ensure that our fellow Alabamians have the opportunity to vote in 2022 for our party's candidates, whomever they may be. Alabama is one of the nation's toughest ballot access states, if not the toughest. With a successful petition drive, we can ensure that Alabama voters have the Libertarian option on their ballots. To do this, we must turn a petition with 51,588 valid signatures in by March 3rd to achieve party status in Alabama for the first time in 2 decades. Because elections officials may invalidate signatures for lots of reasons, we are aiming to be safe by collecting at least 70,000 total signatures. This will not be an easy or inexpensive task. We must rely on volunteers as well as paid petitioners that typically charge up to $5 per signature. We already started collecting petition signatures. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is collecting signatures.
Yeah, it's a good way to get involved.
Yeah, and it don't cost you. It don't cost you anything.
No. Well, I mean, it costs you your time.
Yeah, it just costs you time. It says, I guess some people charge $5 a signature. I mean, I don't know who that is. I mean, I guess petitioners, paid petitioners. I mean, I don't really know what that is. I'm not too
I don't know why you would charge for a signature.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do it for free.
Yeah.
Personally, so I'm gonna try to do that. I mean,
we're not about telling you to give us your money.
And it looks like right now $39,000, over $39,000 has been raised for the Alabama Libertarian Party, and they are still needing about almost 161,000. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And in Alabama, that's going to be hard to get for our party. Just because like they said, I mean, Alabama is a tough state for libertarianism. Because unfortunately, in Alabama, you're as a libertarian, you're looked at as a liberal a lot of times.
A lot of times, yeah, not all the time, but a lot of times.
But I think that about does it for that. If you can get out to the convention, and again, it is. Let's see. It is March 19th, starting at 5 p.m. through Sunday, March 21st at 3 p.m. And like I said, we plan on, so far, for now, our plan is to go to the Saturday night, or the Saturday evening event, and it's $55, so we're hoping to be there, because we just simply can't afford to be there all weekend.
No.
We're parents, and we have jobs and daily...
I mean, I could probably afford to be there, I just, I don't know that I'm going to pay to be there for 3 days.
Well, we got our own show we have to finance, and we got our own things we got to finance, so it may be a little difficult. I know for me it'd be a little difficult to pay all that money.
We can talk about this stuff all day, but
yeah, that was a good second show. Here we are at over 2 hours, so that was
a lot more
good.
Structured.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think
for
so.
Sure. Sorry for the rambling craziness that we gave you last week, but we tried to structure it more.
I hope the sound's a little better too. I mean, I know we probably got some little pops and pings here and there, but I think we did okay this time. What do you think?
I think so. I think it was pretty good. I think it was a good conversation.
Yep, I do too.
We definitely hit a lot, but we were kind of catching up.
We wanted to cover some things that happened before we even started the podcast. So
next time it's probably going to be
a little more up to date
and
more
up to date.
Definitely, probably be shorter, and probably more of the events happening right now.
Hey, and look, we made it through without a lot of God talk. Hey, just like I promised.
Hey, personally, I don't have a problem with God talk, but I don't want to scare people away, because sometimes that's what it'll do it.
All right. Well, I think it was a good second outing.
Yep. And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Tally ho, lads.
Bye, guys.